Hi, Troy with Tsunami Compressed Air Solutions. Today I want to talk to you about the Modular Regenerative Dryer replacement now available from Tsunami. One of the key features of our regenerative drying technology is the fact that it is considered an expandable technology. So we can take this Ultra 10 and turn this into an Ultra 15, Ultra 20, or an Ultra 30 horse dryer. One of the limitations on the Ultra 10 versus our Ultra 15 and larger are in the control module. So this control box only has two outputs, one for each tower. So if we were going to upgrade this Ultra 10, we would end up adding two of these subassembly components onto this so that we could equally splice into the pilot lines and make an efficient Ultra 20 regenerative dryer. When it comes to the Pure Series, it gets a little more difficult because with the Pure Series dryers, we have limitations on the inlet flow control or flow rating of the pre-filters. So these are 50 CFM filters, this is a 40 CFM dryer. So one would ask, why would I ever look at trying to expand that? If I add more towers to this dryer, I need to add more filtration. In some instances, that may be the case. There are other applications to where the inlet air conditions through this dryer provide questionable or marginal performance downstream. And so one way that we can improve performance of a regenerative dryer in any regenerative dryer out there on the market is to add more media. And so when it comes to the Pure Series dryers, one of the advantages of being able to add an additional couple towers to this is we are going to dramatically improve the dryness of the air coming out of 4 towers versus 2. And by adding those, we don't have to replace the pre-filtration. In some cases though, you may end up having to take these pre-filters off, put our 120 series filters, add 2 more banks, and then we can turn this into a Pure 20, which is available from Tsunami as well. When we go to install one or more of these subassembly blocks, it'll be critical to disconnect your air piping that's normally going to be coming out. And then these dryers come with plugs for the auxiliary ports on the opposite end of the pre-filters. Using a 5/8 hex tool or just a piece of 5/8 material and an adjustable wrench, you're going to be able to take the plugs out, and that will be necessary to utilize this. So as I said before, the kits come with these lubricated O-rings. One O-ring will sit inside the groove on one plate, while the other O-ring sits on the groove of the add-on. They are lightly greased, and that's so that it helps for the installation. You can pre-feed a couple of these bolts, and as I mentioned previously, some of these upgrades or replacements are going to be extremely beneficial if you actually disconnect the entire dryer, remove it from the wall or from the tank if it's a tank mounted version, set the dryer down on a table in order to do the service. But if your system allows you access to both the front and the back like some of the tank mounted dryers do, this is one way that you can modify, say like a Pure 10T, and turn that into a Pure 20T. So once we get these started, we use our 1/2-inch wrench. And there are 4 bolts, so usually what I recommend is get 2 going, start the other 2, and then once they're snug and the O-rings are making contact with the opposite plates, and now that we have all 4 bolts snug up to the base, this is where you use the last few, and you can kind of walk your wrench around it, and you just want to go a little bit past snug. You want it nice and tight, but like I say, you don't want to necessarily tighten them so hard that you start to damage the threads on the dryer. You'll do that for all 4 of the bolts. Then what you're going to have to do is you'll add a second tower, because on the Pure Series as well as the Ultras, typically you're going to be adding 2 of these. When you're adding to it, the modular subassembly does not come with the tower studs or the towers themselves, so you're going to want to make sure to order those. If you're not sure which model you have, the 40 CFM Pure 10 and the Ultra 10s, they come with 30 thousandths orifices. Contact Tsunami at 800-782-5752. Ask for technical support, and they'll be able to guide you on which ones you should use. So then once you install your new tower stud, you're going to want to use either an adjustable wrench or an 1 5/8" wrench. Just bring that to snug. There's an O-ring seal, so we don't have to worry about that. Put your tower O-ring on. The tower will come with a lubricant that you can lightly lubricate this bottom gasket as well as these threads. And then once this tower gasket makes a seal to this dryer base, go about 1/8 of a turn, 1/4 turn max. Gently pressurize the system. When you're ready to get to pressurization, make sure the gasket doesn't allow air to leak out of it. If it does, depressurize and do it all over again. As I said, depending on which model you have with this modular subassembly, the 2 different elbows for the pilot lines. So on this Pierce series, it comes with 1/4 inch tubing. There again, you're going to want to get this nice and snug, and make sure whichever location you leave this elbow in position, do not block any of the 4 mounting bolts to the piston cover itself. So as I said, we're going to end up adding 1 additional subassembly here, so we can turn this 2 tower system into a 4 tower system running off that air valve. The kit will come with a T, so what we're going to essentially do is we're going to be splicing these pilot lines and figuring out one way, and pardon me, I'm going to walk around, make it a little bit easier. So one of the things that we're going to want to do is splice this line in order to provide a pilot signal to this tower as well as this tower, the 4th tower over. Now, using a tubing tool or just a sharp pair of scissors, we can tie in. There's a couple different ways that we can look at trying to tie these T's. I like to do a short little piece. And I like to trim, basically figure out about where I need to cut it. Now on these Pierce series, there's a little tubing insert inside these push connect fittings. You're going to want to make sure that's there. And as I said, I can create an alignment and I can position it and say this is the most convenient, is straight down, measure that out. And that elbow will be tight, so by the time I do the install, there we go. So as I said, on a Pierce series, we're going to add 2 additional towers. We're not just going to add 1. If you're dealing with the Ultra dryers, it's really important to understand that to splice into the pilot lines coming from the PLC. But on the Ultra 10, this PLC only has 2 outlets, so the only way to upgrade this unit is to add 2 towers. If you had an Ultra 15, which is our 60 CFM model, that PLC will have 4 outputs on the back. We can add 1 tower and turn a 3 tower into a 4 tower, and then call 800-782-5752. Ask for technical support, and they will guide you through on how to change the program to get your dryer functioning correctly. So that's pretty much it for how to utilize best the modular subassembly replacement. For any questions, please give us a call at 800-782-5752 or check us out online at tsunami.us.com.